What it do, comic gurus? It's your boy Razor Comics, and if hip hop's origin story, its creation story, was to be written down and shared with the masses, then there could be no better format than comic book format. And in today's video, I'll be flipping through a historical masterpiece, Ed Piskors' Hip Hop Family Tree Volume 2. You ready? I'm ready. Skodan. Now, the first thing that pops out to me is how aesthetically pleasing this is to look at, to hold, and to feel. You can tell that Ed Piskor put a lot of love into Hip Hop Family Tree Volume 2, taking place from the years of 1981 to 1983, and Fantagraphics Treasury Edition. Now, if you're not familiar with a Treasury Edition is, that's okay, because neither was I. Think Superman versus Muhammad Ali. Those oversized comic books that you might see at your LCS or some of those facsimile editions that are oversized. Well, that's what this is right here. That's why it barely fits in the frame of the actual camera. But this is very cool, very aesthetically pleasing to hold. You can tell he put a lot of love and care and thought into actually building this book. Just the way it touched, it feels like magic. But it's very nice. The top of it has that the smooth glare feel to it, finish. And then on the side and the spine right here, you got the Volume 2 Hip Hop Family Tree, Ed Piskor, 81 to 83. Shout out to the public library where I got my book at. Well, I got off eBay. But that just goes to show you that these are actually available in your public library. Isn't that amazing? Where this is a part of history now. If you want to learn about hip hop and you're familiar with comic books or vice versa, you can actually go into a public library and read this, which tells you this is going to be part of our history when the Skynet hits, man, and we're and we're talking about holding on to our floppies and our physical media. Well, this is going to be in a library somewhere, and you're going to be able to hold on to this for the future generations of hip hop lovers. And when you open this bad boy up right away, you're going to notice you get a rogue gallery of characters similar to you would like open up a comic book, except these rogue gallery of characters MCs, DJs, graffiti artists that helped make up the first generation of hip hop. Right here, you're going to get a hip hop family tree table of contents, and I did my best to rehearse this 3 or 4 times, so let's give it a go. Table of Contents, introduction by Charlie Ahern, 05. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes you wonder. On the Planet Rock, number 7. Pinups and Burners, number 97. Here's the rehearsal. Come on, Razor. Bigelow. Discography. We'll come back to it later on. Bibliography, discography, and bibliography. God, I almost got it. Index number 109, and about the author, number 112. Very cool. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force. And that character style that our guy Ed Piskor is known, famous for, right? That famous character style, you're going to get it here throughout the book. If you love comic books, man, and you love hip hop, this is one of the most, this is a most owned, man. You must have, right? Most owned. Most have, bro, for the collection. You got to get this. What I have here is the third printing, right? Third Fantagraphics book edition, July 2017. So this is the third printing. Original one came out in 2014. So yeah, this is dedicated to all you bitches. And right away it opens up. You get some Dougie Fresh beatboxing, and it's gonna give you an intertwine of graffiti, of artists, rap artists, MCs, and then of course the DJs and the producers that help make the music. So that's what you're going to be looking out for. You're going to get a lot of tidbits of information, things that you never knew about. You're going to give you some artists to dig through. You like digging through crates? Blowfly, Rudy Raymore. Go look those gentlemen up. And then you might notice somebody here by the name of Too Short, Todd Shaw. Yeah, you got a little cameo appearance here by Todd Shaw, man. Get a little inspiration from his guy Spoonie G. How are we going to sell these records, man? Well, we're going to sell to drug dealers because they're the only ones that got the money to pay for them. So you can see Too Short as a young hustler early on. So Rick Rubin, man, growing up as a fun trust baby, his parents paid for everything. White boy that just got kind of hip to the culture and wanted to bring this live music out and put it on wax somehow. And he figured that out by blending in punk rock and bands like Beastie Boys that were hanging out with him in his dorm and shit around the time, which is just a big party place for fucking people to hang out and party while his parents paid for everything, including making records. And in talking about records, which is cool is you're going to get a lot of artwork of the labels on the 12-inch vinyls, which is a really cool little, little Easter egg that our boy Ed Piskor puts in these books here, man. And here's some of the graffiti artists at the time, guys. Some Rommel Z, some John Michael Basquiat, Bashow, I don't know, Iggy Pop. But this gentleman has a dope song, Rommel Z and K-Rob. It's pretty much if you want to know what hip hop is, like how it started and that first vibe, go and listen to some Rommel Z and K-Rob. Download what's called Beat Bop. Go try to find that. It's probably the most sought after record. And I didn't know that until I read this. It's the most valuable one if you try to find that out there in the wild. If you like to dig into some crates, looking for that bad boy is going to be hard to do. Another cool part of this book, one of my favorite part, was the Wild Style portion, where he actually breaks down the Wild Style movie. And if you watch the Wild Style movie, like your boy is, I'm a huge Wild Style fan, and every scene in here is exactly identical, bro. It's crazy. It's amazing to me. The part here in the basketball court where they're playing ball at Harlem World, and you have the battle between the Fantastic Five and the Cold Crush Brothers. This scene right here, the way it's drawn out, it's absolutely scene for scene. It's picture for picture. It's frame for frame. It looks identical, but it's drawn in that Ed Piskor character type style, man, which is simply amazing. Right here was one of my favorite scenes for the movie, and to see it in the book, man, to see it in the comic book, it's like, man, me and Ed Piskor were like thinking the same thing when I flipped to this page. Like, if you're going to do an homage to the movie, you have to have this scene in here. And if you don't know the scene, I'll try to do my best. You heard of the radio show. You heard it on the TV show. A to the K? Nah. A to the motherfucking C. So there's a lot of bits of information how these guys weren't even in the movie. The director just kind of pulled them off to the side. Come on, man, let's do this movie. You'd be perfect for it. So you're going to get a lot of tidbits of information that you haven't even thought about. I'm going to flip through the book pretty quick, too. So I'm not going to be able to take the time and pay it proper homage and go through it page for page because there's just so much in here, guys, that I recommend just picking it up. Again, another classic scene from the movie here during the rap performances at the end, which is my favorite part of the movie, where you get everybody that rushes the stage at the very end. You get the Fantastic Five right here that actually rush the stage, man, from the crowd. And they get on stage, and they do one of probably the sickest performances that you're ever going to see. They do it out there in that amphitheater, and that's just one of those cool part of the movies, man. Some Beastie Boys early on down here. Again, you're going to get a lot of Beastie Boys during this period. Again, this was 81 to 83, right? So this is the very beginning of that first generation of hip-hop, as I call them. You're going to get some of this Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. You're going to get some Melly Mel. You're going to get a lot of artists that you've never heard of before. You get a lot of DJs that you've never heard of before. A lot of inspiration to a lot of artists that are out now that came out in the 90s. A lot of your favorite artists and rap groups. And just a lot of Easter eggs that you're going to notice in here. Like, this looks like a scene like straight out of New Jack City, except for this was a rapper. This was a rapper and a DJ at the time. Junebug, Dylan Coke and shit. Shit got real, guys, back in those days. So it goes into the whole hip-hop culture and how everything was formed. You got a young KRS-One right here living in poverty, just as basically, just on the streets and as an orphan. Going through a whole spiritual transformation. So this was cool right here. One of my favorite parts of the book is this artwork on the Planet Rock single. Look at that, man. Isn't that dope? Look at that, kind of like an homage to that Superman cover where you got all the floating heads right here. So this is really sick right here, man. This was just really well done by our guy Ed Piskor. I thought he did an amazing job of intertwining hip-hop and comic books. getting all the stories from all these guys, it had to be, had to be hard work, man. You could tell the guy was really passionate about hip hop, and not only about passionate about hip hop, but about just bringing you something that's just really fun to read and really of high quality. I mean, look, you got stitching. I never seen this before, and maybe because I'm new to the hobby, but this is the first time that I've ever, or at least noticed that there's stitching, like actual like stitches that you would fucking stitch your clothes with together with, very fine stitching that bounds the book spine together. I was like, what the? So this is really well done, man. Check this out. You got some friggin' new kids on the block, bro. New edition. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you got great character artwork. A lot of bands in here. You're gonna want to dig through the crates, and if you're like me, it took me a long time to read this, only because I went to go watch Wild Style all over again. I wanted to pause it and come back to the book. I went to go watch the video, The Message. I didn't know that Grandmaster Flash in the Furious Five wasn't even in the song, or didn't even a whole lot of part in it. It was mainly this gentleman here, Melly Mel. It's something I didn't even know about. The Sylvia Robinson character being one of those first, kind of like the Suge Knight, the first Suge Knight of the hip hop industry. So very good, man. Very well done. Ed Piskor, may he rest in peace, did an absolutely amazing job of putting this together. I'm going to try to flip through it and get through this. I don't want to say as fast as I can, because there's so much to cover that if I took the time and just went through every single page and broke it down, we would be here all day and you wouldn't watch the video. And I want you to watch the video so that way you can go back, pick you up a copy, and try to get you this Treasury edition. It's hard to even fit in the actual frame of the camera, but I guarantee you that you're going to enjoy reading this more than you will the omnibus. Pick up the omnibus, pick up whatever you can. But if you have a chance to pick up the Treasury edition, definitely do it, because you're going to come across some really cool scenes like this. Some other noteworthy hits of 1992. It's going to go over some hits during the wintertime, during the summertime. Count Cool Out. It talks about DJ Kool Herc in here, Peebo Pooh. So, yeah, Enjoy Records, man. Tommy Boy Records, Def Jam Records, Rick Rubin, and how he put that thing all together. Even down to the font that was used for Def Jam. It's amazing. Little things like this, too. Like, you'll notice that there's these dots throughout the paneling. It brings you that old fill, right? That old type of newsprint. But you'll also notice that when he gets to the neon colors, the bright colors, you don't have that. And it gives it that extra kick to it, right? So you see how you have these little dots that are added into the printing to give it that feel, that texture. But then when you get here, it's not in these panels, which are the neon, the bright paneling, which does a difference when you're reading it to the aesthetics and the look and the feel. There's Junebug, mysteriously dying from drug-related incident. So very cool, man. Christopher Wallace. Look at it. The only Christopher I acknowledge is Wallace. What? So check that out. Listen to some early Rap Attack, bro. Some Mr. Magic and Marley Marl. You know what I'm saying? So Ed Piskor gets everything in here, from the perfect beat, Renegades of Funk. Check this out, man. You got some early Tommy Boy, 1983, African Bambaataa, and the Soul Sonic Force, one of my favorite bands of all time. Jam out to that. I guarantee you, after you're done watching this video, which I hope you do, you go back and listen to some of that, and you're going to jam the funk out. Funk you, Razor. Funk on up, brother. Scenes like this, man, just from Wild Style, the way they're drawn in here. Some of this cool artwork. Here you go. This was Def Jam. This is what I'm talking about. The artwork, the inspiration that was used, that Rick Rubin used, and the story behind the font, and how his mom worked at the SD Lardell or some shit like that, and had access to, here it is, to the font. And there you go. They were going through the different font types, and it's just really cool, man. Even at NYU on the radio. And you got the Beastie Boys doing their thing with their punk type of style and that kind of crossover. How they made their first 40 grand. That whole story. You're like, how the hell they even come up on that money? That's all in here, guys. It's amazing. You got that artwork again from from however that you spell that. Say the name's John Michael Basquiat or however the hell. Here we go. Russell Simmons. It's a Rush Town Management in the building. Who we roll with? Rush Town Management. That's who we roll with. So I don't know why Ed Piskor draws them like this. Evidently, I think the story goes that Russell Simmons didn't want to participate in kind of the interview process or the making of this historical document that I hold before you. So I don't know if this was just like kind of a dig, a jab. I don't know. But he does pay proper homage throughout the book because Russell Simmons is included prominently throughout this volume. But if you take a look at that panel, right, doesn't do him too much justice there, the character portion. But you guys are going to have a blast reading this book. Definitely pick it up. And then we see some early Run DMC and Russell, start transforming him into to the band and to the look and to the final product. You get some Herbie Hancock, which I didn't know that was even a thing. I was like, who the hell is Herbie Hancock? You go back and you listen to some of this Rocket right here, and you're like, oh, that's Herbie Hancock. Trust me. Again, this is 81 through 83, and boom, there you go, finished product of Run DMC. Speak of the devil, right? So it shows you the process, the evolution of how the band was built together, put together, the final product, on how Russell thought, and the crowd, when they first performed, was just like, hey, man, that's not how, they were dressed differently, kind of preppy-ish, and then they didn't get the response, and then Russell Simmons went back to the old drawing board, man, and started putting the ingredients together, mixing up that old fresh batch of sweet tea, like we like to call it out here, Razor Comics, and that's what the final result was, right? These are the breaks. Give it up, give it up, give it up. A lot of people's first introduction to hip-hop is this song right here. A lot of people know this word for word. I don't. Interesting fact. But then again, it ends just like a comic book. Next, Roxanne makes a Def Jam while the freaks come out at night on the next volume of Hip Hop Family Tree. You look at this little Dr. Dre, kind of like the realization of like, you know what, this Jackson 5 bullshit ain't working for me. I kind of want to go this Run DMC route, kind of that street level route. And it shows you the early inspiration, even from of Andre Young here. So my favorite portion is the end, the pinup. And that's why I love this Treasury edition, guys. I'm so stoked about this. Is at the end you get this, you can't experience the pinup portion in the omnibus or the comic book. You have to experience it only in the Treasury edition, which makes these special. You're going to get Nucleus, DMX, Debbie Harry, I don't know exactly who that is, Rocksteady Crew, Ghetto Boys, Curtis Blow, Ghostface, Cold Crush, Public Enemy, Body Count. And as you start flipping through it, you're like, holy shit, here we go, right? You got Nucleus right here. Look at this. This is just a sick, kind of like that 80s feel, right? This Rough Rider, I was like, it's dope, but what's up with my guy's fist? Like, I don't know what's going on in the lighting. Right? Look at how the fist, it just don't match up with the body. And it's so dope, though. It wasn't one of my favorite. This was my favorite. This reminds me of that Love and Rocket style, man. That Los Bros Hernandez. So whoever did the artwork on this pinup right here, and it shows you at the beginning, so you can kind of flip back to reference. Looks like this is going to be Debbie Harry by Katie Scally. And that reminds me of Love and Rockets, like a friggin' Los Bros Hernandez, man. Jamie Hernandez friggin' cover, bro. Jaime Hernandez type shit right there, bro. You know what I mean? That was my favorite. Just the basicness. I love it. It's one of my just favorite covers. Is Love and Rockets. I love those guys. So that's a cool kind of like homage. In my eyes, maybe it's not. But then you get Rocksteady Crew right here, downtown and uptown, kind of like that blend of the two, the two cultures, bringing downtown and uptown together over things like this. Breakdancing, Rocksteady Crew. Ain't that sick? That's some sick artwork. This is my favorite part, the pinups here, man. You get some Ghetto Boys. My mind's playing tricks on me. Look at that artwork. That looks like you would find that kind of like airbrushed on a t-shirt, right? That's how dope that is. And then you have this Tony Stark as Iron Man, kind of a comic book cover homage, number 36, October 1996, right? Featuring Raycon the Chef, Capadonna. You got the little barcode down here. So that's sick, man, right? Little newsstand. Curtis Blow. And I knew there's a Cold Crush Brothers. Let's see. I think that's Cold Crush Brothers, right? Yeah, Cold Crush Brothers. Is that dope? Look at the Cold Crush Brothers, man. That's sick. And that's representation of like the action style in a comic book, right? So they did a great job, man. Check this out, Public Enemy. Look at this old 12 center, this Silver Age Public Enemy comic book. You got Elvis on here. The issue's great guest star John Wayne battling the king of rock and roll, Elvis. He was a hero to most, using lyrics. Oh man, how to fight the power. I love it. You got the love and hate. Oh, that is classic, man. One of my favorites. The pinups here. You got Cop Killer. That's cool. That's my friggin' what was the name of that band? I wasn't a huge fan of them. I know that they were big back in the day. Body Count, right? That's right, Body Count. You know, you got Cop Killer by Body Count. Better you than me. I'll give it one more shot, guys. One more shot here. Bibliography and discography. Nailed it. That's how you end the video, right? Funky Funk Index. There it is. Hip Hop Family Tree. One of the comic books, the 2-in-1. Shows you Ed Piskor at the very end here. It's a little sad portion where it says Ed Piskor, Homestead, Pennsylvania, 1982. And it says fill in the blank. So that's that's a little sad, man. Rest in peace. Wow. So here it is. And at the very end, you get the Rogues Gallery at the end. Again, man, this the characters that are in the volume, just like a comic book, right, guys? So do me a huge favor. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button. Drop a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all the love and support. At the very end right here is the back cover. Take a look. Run DMC. Hip Hop Family Tree Volume 2, 1981 to 1983. Rest in peace, Ed Piskor. Until next time, you know how I do around here, guys. Check you later.